Hello everybody, number 4 for the Lamley Awards, our 4th showcase, our 4th set of polls, our 4th category, you name it. We've already done best and worst Hot Wheels Super Treasure Hunt, best and, no, just best, premium new model from Hot Wheels, best and most disappointing basic new model from Hot Wheels. Now we jump across the hallway at Mattel to the orange brand, and we're doing best and most disappointing Matchbox licensed new model in 2020. Once again, as I've said, down below are the polls. There are 2 of them for this category. Best, as I've said, and most disappointing. And I'll say it real quickly again like I did in the last video. Most disappointing is not worst. It's the model that disappointed you the most. Something that you were most excited for and it just didn't live up to the level of expectation you had. I think that's more interesting than worse because people tend to go, oh, I'm just not interested in this off-roader thing, so it's the worst. That's a boring answer. So let's find the ones that I was really excited for and it just didn't live up to it, right? Right, let's get to it. We'll walk through these very quickly. I have mixed this year, I did this differently last year, but I've mixed both moving parts models and your standard basic models. They debuted in several places. And because there was only, I think, 3 or 4 moving parts new models, they ran the entire line last year, so there was a ton of them. And from what I understand, in the future we might have a ton more. But I'm just combining all of the new castings for this Matchbox poll, and let's just walk right through it. This was supposed to be a 2019 model, but it's actually a 2020. It was held over just over a couple months, but it was officially a 2020 release. It is the Dodge Challenger. Trying to look at the name here, 1974 Dodge Challenger. This is actually done more along the lines of the classic Dodge Challenger Matchbox casting. That's why it has a little bit of a different look. It's kind of interesting, but that is a new casting. It had an opening hood. It was part of the opening parts line. I think it all started in super fast. Next, now I said these are in order roughly of release. I probably got a few out of order, but you're going to get to all of the models. And here they are. Here is the first basic for the first mix. It is the Alfa Romeo Giulia. I think that's it. 2016 Alfa Romeo Giulia. In red, it was also the Toy Fair model, but we'll just focus on this red version. Not very many recolors. We had a couple that across lines. We'll get to those. And I'll just show the first release of all of them, like I did with Hot Wheels. But yeah, first Alfa Romeo Giulia. A lot of people are excited to see this one. Front and rear deco on that in bright red. Next, NYPD Chevy Caprice, right? Gotta remember. Yep, 94 Chevy Caprice Classic Police is the name of this casting. NYPD livery on this one to debut. I think it's in a 5-pack coming up or out now, something like that. Seems like so long ago that some of these were released, but they were 2020 releases, and maybe that Chevy Caprice, there's a lot of fans of that casting, and we saw the Impala, similar model from Hot Wheels. All right, this one was an interesting one, got a lot of attention this year, and deservedly so. It is the Mercedes-Benz, I gotta get the official name, 22, I can't even see it on the Chrome. 220 SE, right? That Chrome flashes back in my glare in the eyes. But this one was a special. It's a basic model, but was done the Yui Rosquist. I probably said it wrong, but the female driver that they did a promotion with Mercedes-Benz. This was given out to I think first grade girls throughout the year, celebrating the female race car driver. Really cool ad campaign on this one. And a basic model that you can find in the stores as well. So that's the Mercedes-Benz. Staying with Mercedes, this one I tend to kind of associate this kind of model with Matchbox. This is the Mercedes-Benz, 2019 Mercedes-Benz AMG GT63S. 4-door coupe, almost in a way, is what you might call it. Beautiful pearl white on this one. And it's I always like these kind of current modern Mercedes when Matchbox does them. That was a cool release. Next one, going VW. I'm always looking at these base. 76 Volkswagen Mark 1 GTI Golf in orange. Kind of, they did this one. We saw in a couple castings. They actually made them a little smaller. Matchbox used to be a little bit more worried about proportions than they used to in terms of like scale. I shouldn't say proportions, but scale. But occasionally they'll do a real small one or a big one depending on the car. But that Golf was kind of cool. Now over to the United States, an American classic American car, Cadillac. Looking at the name and I can't. It's 41, right? 41 Cadillac series. Is it 32, 62? I can't totally tell, but that's what happens when you're trying to look at a chrome base. But a beautiful classic casting. This one is definitely down the interest line of Abe Lugo, one of the Matchbox designers. I think he owns one of these, so not a surprise to see it in the Matchbox line. We actually got 3 of the same Mustang casting. We saw it in the first and second releases of the Mustang Walmart series that they did. This was the first one in green. This is the one I'll show, and then I'll go through the recolors. But this green version was the first one. It seems like about a year ago that it was first released. This is the Mustang, 2019 Ford Mustang Coupe. So more of a stock style Mustang. Then we saw 2 other recolors. I'll just go through them real quickly. One from Top Gun. We have no idea how it's being used because we haven't seen the movie yet because it was postponed. But it did get into the 5-pack, so we had that kind of brown version from Top Gun. And then the second Mustang series, we saw this one in orange. So the same casting in orange. So 3 releases of that one. Over to moving parts, sorry. We had this one that has the opening hood and an opening tail. It is the Ford Ranger. What's the 2019 Ford Ranger? Debuted new rims too, a new off-road rim from Matchbox. We see it more clearly in the upcoming hardbody. We'll get to that one. But this was the Ford Ranger that was in the moving parts series, the more basic moving parts, and then back to basic. One that I made a big deal about. I made a big deal about 2 Hondas this year. The Prelude from Hot Wheels, and then this little Civic. What is the official name on this one? 1976 Honda SVCC or CVCC. Tiny little Civic, just like the Golf. They did it nice and small, which I was happy to see. And I've always wanted a classic Civic, so that one was one that I was quite fond of. Same mix. Nissan hardbody there. You can see the D21, 1995 Nissan hardbody D21 in red. I think that's a stock deco, that kind of tear look along the side. Very much screams that 90s look. And then you can see clearly here the new rims that I'm sure we'll see on a lot of off-road models moving forward. Back to VW. We had another VW. We had the Beetle Convertible. 2019 Volkswagen Beetle is the official name. Doesn't say convertible on it, but we know it is. It doesn't have a top. In light blue 5-spoke rims. Don't know what else to tell about that one. They've done several Beetles, and so that one wasn't a surprise. All right, this one's licensed. Now again, I'll just reiterate, I think a lot of people will not be terribly interested in this one. It is the Polaris Razor. Very cool casting, like an interesting replica of a vehicle, but I think people are going to be more apt to be voting for Alfa Romeos and Mercedes and Mustangs and Hondas and the like. Bugattis probably too. But do not call this one the worst. If it just doesn't interest you, don't vote for it for anything. Remember, go for most disappointing. If this one just sits in the middle, it just sits in the middle. Some of you might like it as the best model, and you should. And if it really disappointed you should vote for that, but only if it disappointed you. All right, I'll get off that little soapbox. I just want to make sure the voting's accurate. Kind of tells a cool story. All right, this little red beauty is the 1971 MGB GT Coupe. I think this one was promised like 2 or 3 years ago, and it finally emerged this year in red. Don't know what else to say about that one other than it's nice to see another British car. We'll get to a couple, at least 1 or 2 more, at least. Renault, right? Renault Kangoo? I don't know, Kangoo Express, 2018. Little delivery van, transit style van. Agave Acres. Now remember, we're not voting really on the deco, we're voting on the casting itself, but that Agave Acres was an interesting one because this was done by Michael Giralda as he was moving from LA to New Mexico after retirement. This was a tribute to his agave plant that he had out front his house that basically they blossom at the end, they send out a big stalk, and it essentially did it right as he was leaving, and then they die after they send it out. It's a really cool story that he wrote about One of David Tilley's Matchbox Mondays posts. All right, Aston Martin. 1956 Aston Martin DBR1. Classic. Beautiful lines on this one. In British Racing Green, this particular version, the number 3 roundel version, is from Top Gun as well. Don't know when, where, and how, but it's in there. And that's, I think, what they made this tool for. And then they just went ahead, since they had the tool, did another green version for basic. No racing roundels on this one, and the 5 spokes instead of the 10 spokes. So we had 2 versions of the new Aston Martin casting. All right, the Divco Truck, Divco milk truck, right? And it's called the Divco Truck. It has the Divco deco on it. It has, I think, opening doors in the back. It was part of the moving parts series. Kind of a cool, interesting take, kind of a new kind of style from Matchbox, seeing that kind of truck. All right, many of you were interested in this one, also from moving parts with the opening doors. It is a Lamborghini Centenario. Let's see if there's a year to that one. Nope, just Lamborghini Centenario. We saw Hot Wheels do the Speedster, or whatever they called it. And this one is the hardtop from Matchbox with the opening doors. A lot of interest in that one. And then going back to basic, another British car, the British Taxi, officially called the LEVC TX Taxi. The British Taxi, the current British Taxi, right? Kind of nice to see that one. Matchbox has done a lot of British taxis. All right, I got, 6 more just recently, just kind of hit. Well, this one I think has been out for a little bit, and then we'll get to the ones that just hit. This is the Jeep. See a couple of Jeeps. 2019 Jeep Renegade in this bright green. Nice replica of a car I could care less about. Remember, we're talking about the replicas and whether we think it's the best or not. We'll just go ahead and park that one right there. And then just recently released, we saw this Porsche from Moving Parts. It is the Porsche, should I get a 1955 Porsche 550 Spider in light blue. Has the opening rear portion trunk, right? And kind of cool to see this little roadster. I'm interested to see what they'll do with it in the future. But nice to see another moving parts Porsche. All right, there were 4 new models. They made up for a few in the final mix of 2020. Starting with this is the Jeep Gladiator, 2020 Jeep Gladiator. Hot Wheels did theirs with the motorcycles. Matchbox did theirs with the open roof and the open doors, the removable doors and roof. Both in red, so it's interesting to see these together. I actually put on Instagram a little comparison. Asked for people's votes. I'll have to go and see what people were doing there. That was a cool, they do a lot of Jeeps, and that one made a lot of sense. And then this one, I don't care. I mean, whether you like this casting or not, whether you like this truck or not, I love this one. I've said it 100 times. This is the PAL truck. What is it? 1956 PAL Sport pickup. A 1956 truck that looks like a little kid's drawing of a car, right? Just the very flat front, very flat back, and then the passenger portion just sticking right up out of this very flat square body. And interesting truck. Abe Lugo was fascinated by it, I think, and wanted to design it, so they did. Didn't even know it existed before, but it's a cool little replica of a cool truck. And if you want to go by choice alone, that might be a good one to pick. All right, the final 2 might have been the most anticipated of the year, and Matchbox made everyone wait. So we'll start with this one. This was actually delayed a couple of mixes, but paid off. Everyone's picking it up now in stores. It is the Bugatti Devo, based on the Chiron. You can see they gave this a lot of deco. They did they actually fed portion of the interior out into the side so they could give it that color break on the side. They put deco on the rear and the Devo logo. They put deco on the front, including the headlights and that blue front chin spoiler, and then trim on the top. I've learned this about Matchbox. They really budget based on mixes. And so if they can put more money into one model, they might take other money away from others. So for example, a VUM base, meaning a chrome base, if they want to give something that, then they might have to take a couple of tampo passes away from another model in order to do that. So it's a lot of balancing, but obviously this Devo took up a lot of attention, and probably rightfully so and deservedly so, because of the interest that collectors have had in that. That even mixes into distribution. I learned that just recently. You might see like 1 Devo in a mix and 3 Jeeps or something, and that's because the Jeep is cheaper to produce than the Devo, and they have to balance it out, get to a certain price point. I'm on a tangent, but I thought that was interesting. Finally, the last new model of 2020. Before I get to it, there was a Mazda 3 and I think a fire truck of some sort slated for 2020. They have been pushed over to 2021. We'll get to those obviously next year. But this is the final new model, is the C8 Corvette, officially called 2020 Chevy Corvette. That's the actual name of it in the Matchbox records. In blue, very nice casting. Shouldn't be making my comments, but a lot of interest in this one, seeing the new Corvette come to Matchbox. And they did this nice stock version, which I think is great. And it might be your choice. I think it will be a lot of people's choice as best model. So that might be your choice. Could be the Bugatti, could be the Mercedes, any of the Mercedes, Alfa Romeo. There's a lot of great ones. Honda Civic, Alfa Romeo, or Aston Martin. And which one of these disappointed you the most? Look at that, figure it out, go vote. And leave some comments if you want to. I'd be interested to see. Thanks, everybody. That's it for the polls. They will be open for a week. Be sure to vote. Be sure to tell your friends to do the same. We'll announce the winners along with a whole other festivities through the month of December. Videos, photos, blog posts, Instagram posts, you name it. There's going to be a ton of stuff. Not just for me, I promise you that. It'll be really fun. Thanks, everybody. Bye.